Hello and welcome to Biz Daily. I'm Jon Jordan. So the surprise news today is that Apple is rebooting its iPod Touch range of devices. So the reason this is a surprise because kind of everyone's assumed that the iPod Touch is kind of just fallen out of favour. It's been in decline for a number of years in terms of kind of sales. Obviously we have a whole range of iPhones now, so there's different kind of price point differentiation that we used to have with the iPod Touch as a gaming device. That's kind of gone away a little bit because you have these cheaper iPhones. Obviously the iPads come in much bigger, but obviously a bit more available for kind of gaming with a bigger screen. But for whatever reason, they've not really given a reason. It's just kind of suddenly been announced that the iPod Touch has been rebooted. There's different colours, 4-inch screen, and the really interesting thing is that effectively the device kind of internals are a iPhone 6. So you've got the A8 chip and the M8 kind of coprocessor. The M8 is used for kind of motion, kind of fitness stuff, but the A8 chip, as Apple is keen to point out, has 10 times the graphical processing ability of the older A7, and that means it's pretty good for gaming. Apple have kind of pointed to gaming in some of the marketing on this, and it's kind of gone back to its old favourite Monument Valley as kind of one of the signature kind of games that it's mocked up running, or not mocked up, or has taken photos of running on the new iPod Touch. But I guess it will be interesting now, certainly when it comes to gaming, is whether that slightly smaller screen, whether that kind of cuts it anymore. I think people got very used to playing on phones, which are now pretty much bigger. I mean, obviously with the the iPhone 6 Plus, very much bigger, and the iPad equally, and even not after the iPad Mini as well. So quite a small device now to game on. I guess the kind of feeling is perhaps Apple has kind of rebooted the or launched Apple Music, so the Beats streaming service. So maybe it's kind of focused a bit more towards kind of the music line of stuff. We'll have to wait and see what happens with iPod Touch. But certainly interesting, just because it's a very powerful bit of hardware, and it's much cheaper because obviously there's none of the phone stuff in there. So it does kind of just provide another kind of option for people who are looking to make games for iOS. Maybe it makes it a bit harder that they've got like another type of hardware to support, which is maybe not technically hard, but perhaps the type of person who would be expecting to use the new iPod Touch will be a little bit different to what we'd expect a phone user to be like, and what we'd expect a iPad user to be with. And I guess in terms of kind of Apple's device family, it does kind of perhaps undercut a little bit price-wise, where Apple have been struggling against Android. So Android devices have kept some of them very powerful, and certainly price-wise they're pretty cheap. So there's a volume market going on that Apple hasn't been able to compete with them. So maybe the iPod Touch will kind of help them out in that kind of buying something for a kind of a younger child who you don't want to give them the phone access, but they will want to do gaming on it as well as perhaps music. So we'll wait and see how that one pans out, but certainly interesting, as we like our news to be. So come back tomorrow and see what's happened then. See you then.